I think that the first chapter is the same information that you explain it
Yeah. So yeah, some of it
about
is the same.
the difference between teaching and learning. Chapter is the same information.
All right. All right. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Some of the stuff I try to deviate a lot because I don't want to give you the same information that you're going to read. Um, I'm going to share my screen and let's dive into that first chapter. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's
You sent the
let's look
colored
at.
copy.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, my teacher. Did you send this copy as a colored one? Because I'm searching, but I
I
didn't find
sent
it.
yeah, I sent both versions to you.
All right.
Okay. All right. So all this is good information here. And we kind of went over some of the information, and then you can read some of it for yourself. Okay. Let's talk about the basic lesson model that we use in TESOL. And this is the core model that we use. Okay. This is not theory, this is more practical. Okay. We talked theory for the last 2 days. This is the basic model that I want you to remember. And you can deviate and create your own iteration of this model, but don't deviate, don't go too far from this model. Okay. When we're doing an ESL lesson, all right, or we're teaching language arts from the perspective of learning how to engage the English language in a practical sense. Okay. And remember, all languages are on the move, and English is no exception to that. What do I mean by on the move? I mean that language is consistently and perpetually changing. It's always changing. It's always moving. People may pronounce things a little bit differently. Political, social events, even natural events help to or encourage the movement of language. The migration of people from one place to another, wars, economic hardship, economic prosperity, all of these concepts encourage the movement, stimulate the movement of language. So this idea of non-native speaker, native speaker is pretty idiotic because language is not static. It's not idle. It always moves.
Dynamic.
The way it's dynamic. There you go. It's dynamic. It's always moving. So as a educator or a learner, remember we used the term learner, teacher as a learner, we have to keep that in mind that it's very dynamic. This is why active learning is extremely important. Student-centered learning approach. Putting the student first is extremely important. When we're engaging any type of learning activity. Remember, we had a conversation on Tuesday looking at analyzing the differences between education and learning.
Mhm.
So one of the benefits of teaching learners how to learn is that teaching learners how to learn allows learners to see the movement of language, the movement of grammar, the movement of how we speak, which encourages often how we think. And that movement is a dance that coincides with this life, what we identify as life in politics, in economics, and sociology. It's the psychology of our biology, our sociology. And that's why lifelong learning is important, because language is not idle, just like life is not idle. Language is always on the move. This basic lesson model helps us keep track with language being on a move, stay paced with language being on the move. So I want you to remember these models. It's a core part of this program. You have the warmer, okay? And the warmer, and we're going to talk about these in extreme detail as we go through this course. And it's pretty much the epicenter of the course here. The warmer addresses what we talked about Tuesday, and that amygdala, what's in it for me, the reticular activating system, is the information safe? The warmer addresses this because the warmer allows the student to enter an environment that is conducive to learning. The warmer allows the information to go from the reticular activating system to the amygdala. The warmer is designed to get the students comfortable. And often I had to remind myself, even as I engage learners, that I always must do a warmer. We always must do a warmer. We cannot go right into a lesson. We should spend at least a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes engaging students, making sure that they're in an environment that is conducive to learning. It goes back to Krashen's effective filter theory. We want to reduce that filter. We want to reduce that anxiety as much as we possibly can. And the warmer allows us to do this. And again, we always must have a warmer, even if that warmer is 1 minute. And we're going to talk about the elements of a warmer. You notice it says TTTS, STSS. The warmer, when we engage in students as far as language acquisition is concerned, it goes from teacher, that's the teacher modeling, to teacher-student, that is the teacher encouraging the student or individual students or group of students or learners to try to watch the teacher again, and then respond to the teacher. And then student teacher, where the student addresses the teacher and asks the teacher to respond to them or to the learner. And then a activity where all the students, all the learners together engage one of each other individually or as a group. Okay. Then we have the context and modeling. All right, context and modeling. We already talked about about how important context is. Context is what? Give me the definition of context.
Context is to function the suitable is the ability to understand the information.
Context is the what? Situation, the what? The situation what?
Is the situation is what a situation the student understands, not the
There
situation
you
the
go.
teacher
There you go.
understands.
There you go. Context is the situation the learner understands. So what
Learner
the teacher,
understands.
so what the teacher does in the context of modeling phase, we move from, we call this book Smooth Moves. And the reason why we call the book Smooth Moves is because the teacher is smoothly moving from warmer to context to control practice to vocabulary expansion to listening activity and a reading. We transition smoothly where the student doesn't even know the transition is occurring. So we go from the warmer and we transition smoothly to the context where we present the situation the students understand to the learners so they can get acclimated, orient themselves to the lesson. Right? And we could do this through the pictures, our actions and examples and writing on the board and watching a video or having students brainstorm. There's many different ways we can set context. Okay. This is again why the learner profile is important. You have to get to know your student. You have to get to know your learners in order to present to them context that they will understand. After context and modeling, we move to controlled practice. Controlled practice is an opportunity where the learners get to try out the language that you have presented to them in the context of modeling. So in the context of modeling, you're going to acclimate them to the core lesson by giving them the situation that they can understand. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Oh, I'm hungry.
I can't understand.
I'm hungry. And then maybe showing a picture of someone hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. Most people can understand or knows what it feels like to be hungry, right? Oh, I'm starving. Not I'm starving. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. All right, rubbing my stomach. Oh, I'm hungry. All right. I am hungry. I am hungry. I am hungry, right? And if you notice, if you ever watch Sesame Street or Elmo or any one of those types of cartoons, they follow this paradigm. And you notice they will repeat the target language over and over again. They repeat the context over and over again. Okay, we want to do it 5 times. So when we model 5 times to the students. We model the target language 5 times. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. Meanwhile, we'll have it on the board and we could point to it on the whiteboard. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Oh, I'm hungry. All right. And we point to the whiteboard. And the words, oh, I am hungry are on the board. They see it. Oh, I'm hungry. Right? That's context. That's one example of how you can set context. And even if the student doesn't understand a word you're saying, they don't understand the I am hungry because they don't know English, right? They don't understand the I am hungry. But what do they understand? They understand the O, right? That's a a marker of distress, right? That's a universal marker of distress. Oh, something's wrong, right? Something's wrong. They may not know what is wrong, but they know something is wrong. That's a situation they can understand because we're all human beings. Oh, right. So they're like, oh, something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. And then when I start to rub my stomach, right? I start to rub my stomach, then they can connect. Oh, he's rubbing his stomach, he's hungry. Why? Because that's a human thing that most humans can connect with, right? Oh, so this I am hungry has something to do with the teacher being hungry. I am hungry. Oh, the I is him. Oh, he's hungry. This is why we do it at least 5 times. So that's context and modeling. Control practice is when we get them to try it out. You remember, this is TESOL, so we want them to talk. Oh, so we have 2 lines. Oh, I am hungry. Let me write on my board here. Well, I can't write on board because I put the but we have 2 lines here. Maybe I can write on this. Maybe let me see. Is it gonna let me write? Let's see. Maybe I can do this. Oh no. How did it do that? Let's stop sharing for a second. Go back. Sometimes this thing. How did I do that? Bit.
I'm here.
Let's see. All right, let's try this again. Is it gonna let me answer it? Yeah, so I think I can. All right, so I'm gonna write on the board here for a second. Oh, I am hungry. Right? That's A. Come on, give me a better A than that. And then B might be, are
you hungry?
B may be, oh, I am hungry. Let's go back and do B. And B would be, would you like a burger? So this is the target language. The context is I'm hungry. Are you hungry? I'm hungry, right? So the 2 lines that we're going to start with is, oh, I am hungry. And then the teacher is going to play 2 roles. Oh, I am hungry. And then the second role, would you like a burger? Oh, I am hungry. Would you like a burger? Oh, I am hungry. Would you like a burger? And we do that 5 times. All right. So when we get to the control practice, that's the context modeling. When we get to the control practice, then the leader, the lead learner, i.e. the teacher, will begin to move the learners through that process. 1, by modeling. 2, by engaging. We'll show you later how to do that, by engaging the student, and then the students engage each other. But with the student will engage the teacher, and then the students will engage each other. So they get many opportunities to practice, oh, I am hungry. Would you like a burger? Put my question mark here. Okay.
Okay.
That's your control practice. And then we go into vocabulary expansion. Vocabulary expansion. Because we can say this many different ways, right? We can go many different directions. So once they have, oh, I am hungry, would you like a burger? Then we can move to, oh, I am starving, right? Oh, I am starving. Would you like a sandwich? You see? Oh, I am starving. Would you like a sandwich? All right. Expanding the vocabulary, expanding the lexis, showing the student there's many different ways to communicate that idea. And we're going to break these down in the later lesson. And then we have listening and reading, where in that same context, we want to give them something to listen to about being hungry. All right. Whether we read it to them, we show them a video, we have them listen to an audio. Okay. They listen. Okay. They demonstrate that they listen well. And we'll show you how to do that later. That's the teaching, listening, teaching, speaking, teaching, reading, teaching, writing. That's that course. Okay. So we show them how to listen well. There's things that we do. There's a process that we do to teach listening. There's a process that we do to encourage speaking. There's a process that we do to encourage reading. And there's a process that we do to encourage writing. And we're going to talk about those in separate lessons, not today. And then from
reading.
From the teaching, speaking, listening, reading, and writing, then we end the lesson with a communicative activity. A communicative activity. And that's an activity where the learners are work together, or sometimes individually, but normally work together on the target language to process it on their own, to use it for practical purposes, right? Where they might play a game, or they might have a project, or they might have to demonstrate that they can use the language on their own. And that's that transfer. We're trying to stimulate transfer here. And we talked about that in the previous conversation. All right. So here's the basic graphic for basic lesson model. You have context. The context in this case is exercise, or what we just did was being hungry. And we go clockwise. The warmer context modeling, speaking practice, vocabulary expansion, listening activity, reading activity, communicative activity. Typically, we don't include the writing activity because the writing activity is a longer process. Normally, you don't have that much time in a lesson. So the writing activity would be an opportunity where the student can demonstrate, and we spend a different class just on the writing part. Right? But it depends on how much you want to write and how much time you have. Some people have longer periods of time where they can include all bits of those elements. Okay. So let me stop there. Is there anything that is unclear with that?
No, it's clear, my teacher. It's obvious.
Okay. Evident. How many times will a teacher model? Do you remember what I said? How many times will a teacher model a specific target language?
How many times for teaching models?
How many times? Remember back in here in the context of modeling, right? How many times will the teacher model for the student?
Six,
Five.
five,
5 times.
5 times.
Oh, I am hungry. Would you like a burger? Oh, I'm hungry. Would you like a burger? Oh, I'm hungry. Would you like a burger? I'm hungry. Would you like a burger? Right? Notice I do it different time, different ways, right? I'm not just going to say, all right, class. Oh, I'm hungry. Would you like a burger? Oh, I'm hungry. Would you like a burger? Oh, I'm hungry. No, I'm going to have fun with it. The more fun the lead learner, i.e. teacher, is having, the more fun students will have. Okay. You have fun with it, they'll have fun with it. I do this with all age groups, from little small first graders to really big adults, and everyone loves it, right? For the most part.
All right.
Okay. So these are things that we don't do in a traditional English class. So we have to identify who we have in the class. If we have people in a class who have difficulty understanding languages, new to the language, then we need to follow these steps. But here's the amazing thing about it. Even native speakers benefit from the paradigm, the teaching paradigm. You can use this paradigm for almost any lesson, whether it be teaching English, teaching the states of matter, teaching how to add 2-digit numbers, any type of lesson you can use this model. Okay.
All right.
How does that sound? All right. Because I know you watch the videos. I was thinking about this. I'm going to make it shorter because I don't want you to have to process a lot of information. So I'm going to stop right there. All right. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is, when we meet, I think we meet again on Sunday, right? What I'm going to ask you to do is read all of this all the way up down to context and modeling. So actually finish context and modeling. So read all the way down to 20. Let's see.
36.
These pages are quite short. So 32.
32.
And there's a lot of good information, here. Okay. All right. How's that? You read all the way down to 32. You can rewatch this video. But I just want to introduce you to the teaching paradigm. I want you to be able to, off your memory, say what the paradigm is. It is warmer, context and modeling, right? Warmer, context and modeling, control practice, okay? And remember, it's a smooth transition. We go from the warmer. The warmer is essential. Don't ever, I don't have to tell you this, but I will say it. Don't ever start a class without a warmer. And I have to tell myself that often.
Basic.
I have to remind myself, Ray, don't start a class without the warmer. The warmer is very important because it gives every student the opportunity to be great, to have a victory, at least one victory. And we'll talk about warmers the next class in detail. So we transition from the warmer, okay, to context and modeling. Context and modeling is when the teacher is introducing the target language and setting the context for learners, so they can acclimate themselves to the learning outcomes or objectives. From context and modeling,
Practice.
We have controlled practice. Controlled practice is the opportunity where students, learners can play with the language and make all the mistakes they need to make. All right. From controlled practice, we have what? Vocabulary, what? Expansion and lexis. Now that they know the language, or they feel comfortable with the target language, now we can expand them out to show them that there's many different ways to communicate that idea. Okay. From vocabulary expansion, then we should go into a listening activity where they actually hear on the same theme or the same context. They hear something. And then we want them to actively listen. And we'll go through the process of how to do that later. And then from listening, we go into speaking activity, where they speak on what they listened to or what they heard. So we encourage them to speak on what they heard under that same context. Then we slide into a reading activity, where now they're going to read. And there's a process we do for that to get them to read. So when we move into that teaching, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, now we move into higher ordered thinking. So we're moving them up Bloom's taxonomy, because now we want them to think. Why? Because we're trying to create lifelong learners. We're trying to stimulate the learning transfer that we talked about in the previous lesson.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So once we move from listening, speaking, and reading, often we separate writing. Depends on how much time we have in the class. Then we have a communicative activity, where the students are able to, where we really demonstrate and transfer, because we stimulated that transfer, or excuse me, we asking the students to demonstrate what type of transfer they have, or what they have learned, right? By giving them activities that will allow them to demonstrate what they have learned, what they have captured, and even expand their scope of that. Okay. Whether it's a tic-tac-toe game, or it's run and read, or it's a play. Okay. Some dramatical dramatic or authentic response, project-based learning. All right, that's what the communicative activity is about. All right, so I want you to again read all the way down to
the first chapter
here,
you did already.
all the way down to the is it context and modeling? What's that? Context and modeling. Yeah. So read all of this all the way till you get to page 20. What is that? 32. Okay. I don't want to overload you with information. This is the core things that we need right here. All right, the basic teaching paradigm. All right, so when we meet on Sunday, people, we'll slide into the individual one of these, each individual characteristic of the paradigm, and then after that we'll go into the grammar book. Okay.
All right.
Because we got to finish. I want to finish before Ramadan. You have any questions?
No, it's my teacher, just to listen to your recordings and then to write the notes and discuss it in the evening lecture, evening lesson.
All right. Sounds good. So I'll see you. We'll
today's in the evenings at 7 o'clock to discuss the
7 o'clock.
second recording.
7 o'clock. And that is the evening sessions are really not for me to speak, it's for you to speak and you to talk to me and then ask me questions. If you have questions, that's the opportunity for you to ask me questions. Okay.
Just to understand it and to write notes and then to talk to you what I understood.
Absolutely. And ask any questions you have.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. All right, Mr.
Right.
Muhammad, have a good day. We'll talk to you
Have a
this
good day.
evening,
Okay, inshallah. Au revoir, Dicko.
inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.